No, it looks that way. No data here. I mean, the charts are updating, but this didn't fill in. Not sure why. Let's see. Let's see if we change it. Maybe Signal's having some hiccup. I really don't know.
No, it looks that way. No data here. I mean, the charts are up.
There you go. All right. So, surprise, surprise. China tariffs timed how nicely just before the market opens here. And so things came down to support in multiple markets. We saw that, and looks like a little mini crash on the 60-minute chart. It happened so fast, but you know what? It's just another yawn here. I guess maybe the market has just become accustomed to the day-to-day gyrations or news that hits, and just not a big deal, I guess. You're used to it, but we'll see how far this goes. Of course, the Fed chair is supposed to speak today, and everybody's, waiting here. And as I'm talking here and looking at all of this and thinking about what I wrote in the advisory letter over the weekend for Monday, it was like everybody sits on the razor's edge, and it just seems that that's the way it is. Unless something of significant happens here, the market is just not going to move one way or another. And while it's still just hovering here up near last week's high, it's just look at what we have here over this last week, just nothingness going sideways. So one of the things we talk about, of course, is concepts as to he's supposed to be speaking later today, Tony. We talk about bullish price action and what that looks like. And, it's in retrospect bullish price action after it actually breaks out, right? Nonetheless, it's up at resistance and it is going sideways here. So we do view that as being bullish, and it did retrace the entire huge red candlestick. So the short kind of interpretation of different price patterns, candlestick names, so on, and all of that is understanding retracements, which makes it really simple. So, you get a big down bar, and does it stay at the bottom of the big down bar? Because the big down bar creates a price void when it comes down that fast. And that is, what I call the weakest link in the chart, even though it's the most powerful candle on the chart. Now, you have that void, so it's not supposed to go into it, but the void has been created, and it's supposed to stay in the bottom half and ideally the bottom third, and then continue in the direction of the big bar. Well, that didn't happen. It retraced all the way back up. So we say that that's bullish, and now it's at resistance and it's going sideways, but it can't break out. So the spring is being wound here. And whatever the news is, maybe the markets are anticipating that it's going to be bullish and it's going to blast off to the upside. So I guess, we'll see. We'll see. The news comes out, and then buyers step right up in the area of the prior low. Not even all the way down where it cut through this one. It went through a little bit and it's holding. It doesn't mean it won't go down, but right now it's holding there. And as you can see on the weekly chart, the futures are just trading inside, not only inside the range, it's the body here is inside the prior body. So a lot of running in place, going nowhere. One of the other comments I made this week is that, right now this market is for day trading. And so while, we have found some stocks on their own page, it's not like throwing a dart, and just hitting. You have to, search, scan, find them. Whereas when the market's trending, it's just like there's just so many things that are moving together. It's, so easy to find things. Sometimes it could be, like a kid in a candy store that there's just so much out there. Which one do you pick? But in any event, the message here continues to be the same as to running in place, and we're waiting for some, let's just say, real news. I think maybe a month ago, this morning's news would have created a bar like this, and now it's not. So things are constantly changing, and well, we'll just go through the charts and see if we find anything of different here. So NASDAQ futures came all the way down here, and these lows are equal, with the S&Ps, they weren't. But in any event, buyers stepped up here again, and the weekly chart looks pretty much the same, and the daily chart looks the same, and it's as if, okay, China, blah, 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 Trump, blah, 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 who cares? What is the real news? I guess it's going to be the Fed rate cut when it comes. But, we've looked at this yield curve, where this has gotten some stabilization, and this is the most extreme. Others have inverted, as you know, but this one is the most extreme one that hasn't. 3-month versus the 30-year, but you can see it's real close, but it's just hanging around here, and the markets are hanging. So it's summer doldrums. Markets are confused. Everybody's confused. So trade small, trade intraday. And we'll see where it all ends up, as we always do. Dow. So let me get rid of that and make a replacement. And there we go. Same story, down to the prior lows here. So what we'll be doing here in the green room is watching the smaller time frame. And so far, what we're looking for is, could this be a downside shakeout? Or is it just building a new launch pad to move into this void below? So same concept of big wide range bar, right? We got here, creating the void. So now traders are a little apprehensive, of course. News hit, which way is this going to go? Market's been choppy all week. And so buyers step up looking for the bounce. Started to bounce, not bouncing. Longs are going to get nervous here. So needs a little bit more time to see, does this go sideways trying to retrace back up, or is it, down to the next level? That's what we do as intraday traders. And, is just watch these multiple time frames, get a bias, and then wait to see what unfolds. As swing traders, we're looking at the weekly, which is just telling us, bottom tail inside here. If it takes out this high, buy. And it's a long ways, kind of right down here is the long ways down to the prior week's low. But if by some possibility this ends up with a big red bar to the downside, I think that opens up the door to breaking through these lows. So we continue to be in information gathering mode as the markets chop around here. And we've got the Russell pretty much doing the same thing. So just looking at comments in the green room. Same story. Got the void below. We'll see. This on the weekly time frame is more attractive as a play, since it's a W kind of a pattern. And as we look at the ETF, you could see, it's down near these lows that it's held all this time, and just another inside small, narrow range bar trading inside the prior week's range. So more of the same. Wait and see what's going to happen. Oil coming back down. Makes sense. China tariffs, economy concerns, all the things that we've kind of gotten somewhat bored with over this amount of time, hearing it over and over again, and the market's pretty much just gyrating back and forth. But, this kind of suggests going back down to the lows here. And if that happens, the assumption is markets go down. And then we look for bonds. Is there the confirmation? And bonds came down and hit some support. They're bouncing back up. So we've got this, opposing information here in a moment here. If bonds were breaking to the downside and oil was down like that, I would be pretty confident that the the markets are going lower. And this kind of throws a wrench in that bias, and just more of, the neutral offsetting pieces of information as like, which way is it going to go here? We'll see. And gold going back in the opposite direction, kind of, it's been this inverse relationship. But overall, this is bullish. It's going up. This has been a choppy consolidation for a couple of weeks within an uptrend. So all looks higher for gold. And same with silver. However, silver is up near this resistance, but so far it's acting well, meaning it's taking in the supply that's the sellers that are coming in as they typically do. So as we look at charts, we look to the left and we say, is there a void? Right? We looked the other charts, the void below, and we look to the left as something goes up and says, is there resistance there? And the assumption is that momentum will stall, and then we watch what the reaction is to that resistance. In other words, does it go sideways bullishly like this, or does it collapse back down? And if it does go down, does it violate major support? Which so far this just goes sideways and acts really well. Want to look at the transports? It's just kind of a messy chart, back and forth. Similar. We've got prices down at support. They're holding here inside week. So the message is the same across the board here. You can intraday trade any old day of the week, as long as you can find something moving. As far as looking at weekly and daily charts, it's a lot of running in place. So recognize what it is and accept it, and don't create a lot of commissions in a environment that doesn't suggest a meaningful move one way or the other. As much as you might want it, it's not here at the moment. Semiconductors, which have been strong, just chopping back and forth here. Retail, which got pounded, actually showed a little relative strength. And a lot of times things that show that kind of weakness just rebound and can show some relative strength while other things are doing nothing. So other than that, well, that's just internet here, which got pounded pretty good. And we'll see, like everything else, does it hold this level? Does it go down? Does it go up? The message is the same everywhere. Was looking for the markets to take a direction here one way or the other. So that's it from me. Dan, it's all yours. And
all right, good morning, everyone. Weekly options trader. We only have 2 opens. Let me get my screen here. We were playing defensive yesterday, or the last couple days. I think pretty much everything on our swing I've legged into covered calls, if they made sense. And so Facebook here, we have a bear call credit spread over these highs, the 187.5. So above this, above the week's high. That looks great. Breaking down here this morning. And also Tesla for next week, the 232. So way the heck above this wide range bar. Weekly. Aqua. We have a tight stop under 15. It's not acting right though. Cato. Beautiful wide range bar, 15-minute breakout yesterday afternoon. All time frames in alignment. Look at this wide range igniting on the weekly after a new low. Huge support here. $12 range on the monthly. Good news on C Block. It's getting bought out by VMware, 26 bucks. So it's gapping up. We have a covered call, short the 25s, and so we shorted them, I think, for 80 cents, something like that. So the decision to do that was pretty much neutral in terms of, oh, I capped my gain. Well, yes, we capped it at 25, but we put 80 cents in our pocket, lowering our cost basis. So we're making 14% return in 3 or 4 days. Well, I take that back. We bought this one on the 13th, so in 10 days. No, I understand. You can just wait for the takeout price. But what I sent a text alert saying is, I don't mind giving up a dime, 10 cents, if we can get out. So that's why I said for a limit of 24.90, because then that way we're done with it. We book our money and we have zero gap risk. These things aren't done until they're done. So there's always a risk that it doesn't go through. CNC, we have a bear call credit spread. That looks great. Campbell's Soup, we have a covered call. Crust, covered call for this Friday. So all these ones that are Friday expiration throughout the day, I will be legging into next week. Letting, today's expire worthless. So the one we have on this one today is the 55.5s. So that's perfect. Let it expire worthless and sell another one for next week. Dish has been a problem child. We're just going to keep our stop there and hold our breath. EDU put spread, see it gapping down to 105. But it's way out of the money. We have the 100s way down here, the 100. 90 put spread. ENTG is long stock. Some of you were, talking about this bad tick yesterday. I'm not sure how that got resolved. FLT, we have a put spread and a covered call. GIS, we have a bull call debit spread that we're going to have to get out of because, let's see, where are you? It's no, it's for September. Never mind. I wanted to make sure it wasn't a short-term one. GNRC was another beastly stock that we bought this little breakout right there yesterday afternoon. I can't tell where it's gapping. MLM, we have a put spread. So look at all these longs. I mean, other than the dish, all our longs are holding up so much better than the broader markets, even, with today's gap down. And that's just a testament of our approach that we know how to go pick out the stuff that has a great pattern. NDAC, we're long stock. Newell, long stock. Wow, we have a lot of opens here. RNG, we have a put spread. Had a nice close yesterday. This is a little Bull Island reversal. Ruby, long stock. That looks great. SJM, long stock. Oh, it's actually up here in a weak market. I like seeing that. And then if it closes like that, then we will move our stop to yesterday's low. SRC, Barrett. Oh, never hit your stop. Well, Barrett, it Amazon and Apple, we hit my Titan stop yesterday. I went through and just tightened a bunch of things when, I just didn't like yesterday morning activity, the fall. But yes, Barrett, if you can put your drop down also to all panelists and attendees. Barrett was saying he's still in Apple, Amazon, and Spiders. But we're out of all three of those in the room. SRC, we're long stock. Beautiful weekly, monthly with I call it a pig target. My target is, low 50s on the monthly. Twitter, we have a covered call. And that's if we don't, I moved the stop to yesterday's low. And if we don't get stopped out, then I'm going to sell another call for next week. WDC, we have a covered call. And finally, ZTS, covered call. So I see zero, emergencies. Now let's look at gappers here, VMware. So this is the one, they're buying two companies. They're buying our little C block, and they're also buying this pivotal software, about 139. The bearish gap on the weekly, it still has room to fall, even though it's gapping down $9. It's buying this one also, pivotal. Yeah, the news, I think the news had to have been out here, obviously. Yeah. So nothing to do with that. HSAT, oh, this is one I have up here because it was a recent IPO. $41, so that's a bearish gap. We'll keep an eye on that for a bear call credit spread. Yeah, the news said PAL at 10, and I know some of you yesterday were saying 10 meant noon Eastern, but yeah, the news, the CNBC said 10 Eastern. HIB, what do we got here? Nothing. Sell setup, but kind of conflicting time frames. ATGE, I think, had earnings. Nothing to do. Need a pullback. Ross, earnings, had a nasty gap down, and now it's recovering. So if it recovers, then overall, it's wide and whippy, but it's the weekly and monthly are bullish. Red Robin, gap down, and now it's up 34.25, but no pattern. But if it can stabilize, it's a bottoming pattern on the weekly. It kind of has the flavor of a reverse head and shoulders. Kind of got two heads here on the left. I got two shoulders. And my head here is my downside shakeout on volume. And now it's back up to resistance. So I like that weekly. This sector got smacked yesterday. MOH, here's an ETF for them. That's bearish, it's breaking down daily, weekly, sell setup on the monthly. Intuit had earnings. It's gapping too excessive for me, but it's bullish, of course. FL, a retailer, getting smacked. Wow, that's a shock pattern. These are two power green bars, and now we're gapping to 37. That's a big ouch. Hewlett Packard, percent-wise, that's huge. That's a nasty gap down, 1750. 1 minute to go, GPS 17. So that's bearish. That could be on a day trade short list. So it's a gapping under that big green bar. CRM earnings 157. The gap's too excessive for me. Oh, and it's obviously Friday. Option expiration. So let's be on the lookout for call and put spread candidates. This is on my bull watch list. Little buy setup, bull flag, relative strength. Keys was if I could have got a 1, 2, 3, but the gap down 50% into this bar is not good. LMT is strong, so just churning to all-time highs. WCG, this was the best of the sector in terms of the shorts yesterday, but I surely missed it in the morning. Anthem, the same sector getting smacked. There, Charlie India. I mean, the problem is that intradays are getting extended, but if this can't bounce, then 30-minute low. Humana, that's a call spread candidate.